If you guys aren't aware, yesterday the final report on foreign interference was released by Justice Marie-Josée Hogue, and it kind of does what I think a lot of people suspected. It identifies issues, but it never actually holds anyone accountable, and it severely downplays the issue of foreign interference in Canadian politics and our institutions. As people like Sam Cooper and others critical of the reports have pointed out, what this report does is it talks about systemic issues, but it never hones in on specific individuals who are basically allowing foreign interference to go on. And in many ways, it basically shows that people covered it up, but because we don't know too much about foreign interference that was covered up, then it must not be too much of a problem. At one point, it's mentioned that even CSIS themselves allege that Minister Bill Blair, the Minister of Public Safety, just failed to sign a warrant to monitor former MPP Michael Chen, who acts as a power broker for the CCP in Canada, and that, well, that's bad, that's a problem, but I guess we don't know too much about any foreign interference that might have been detected if they actually acted fast, so it's no big deal. The report is just caked in stuff like that. Some vague thing happened, we didn't investigate it, we should probably do better next time. I will be linking this article from the Bureau below if you guys want to go read it. It's How Justice Hogue's Report Failed to Hold People to Account, former RCMP investigator. This is Sam Cooper's blog, and this article is Gary Clement commenting on the problems with the report. I encourage you to go read it. I've read several articles on this report. I haven't read the report myself. Forgive me, it's 123 pages, and I trust people whose specialty is foreign interference and this kind of like security investigations to read it for me and break it down. But yeah, it feels like some of the previous liberal investigations that have happened, where somebody who is friendly to the liberals writes up a report that shows that there were some problems, but overall it wasn't that bad, and then we all move on. It's not like everything in the report is worthless, but when it can correctly identify that multiple MPs, several of them, the 11 that are still unnamed in the report, are basically working with and like associating themselves with foreign in front groups, that's just kind of a lapse of judgment. That's just not good, but it's not, real foreign interference. Sam Cooper and independent MB Kevin Vuong did a press conference about a couple months back where they even exposed some of the names of the 11 MPs and senators who might be involved in foreign interference and showed that some of them directly, while they were senators and after they've been senators or while they are MPs, have been either directly on the board of or have worked with CCP front groups, United Workers Department front groups, who are basically act for the foreign interests of the CCP abroad. There is more money put into the United Front's Workers Department than I've heard like other major institutions in China domestically. They spend billions on it every year because at least the CCP see it as a useful thing to invest money into in order to penetrate Canadian and other foreign government institutions. And yet this report is pretty blasé. It talks about how there's attempts to curry favor or there's attempts to influence, but they don't really ever name the front groups. They don't really ever name the targeted MPs, even if an MP is completely just none the wiser that they are trying to be influenced by a foreign entity or movement or extremist group. That should be something reported, that this person is gormlessly stupid enough to engage with these people. There are liberal MPs not named in the report at all, like Majid Johari, that when Iranian parliamentarians come to Canada, a country where we don't even have an Iranian embassy because of it being a pro-terror state, they will literally visit Majid Johari at his house. That is a little bit crazy that he would do stuff like that. People who have been stumping against the Foreign Agents Registry Act to make sure that you can't just, be lobbying secretly on behalf of a foreign government. There has been MPs as well as senators stumping against it, like Senator Wu Pa for the Liberals, who just nobody seems to be wanting to look more into. A guy actively stumping against wanting people who are working for the CCP to have to declare that they're working on behalf of a CCP front group to declare that information to us. This report, again, just kind of papers over it all. It's the idea that, well, we should check better. Well, we should sign documents faster so that we can monitor suspicious people. Bill Blair, in this report, was said to have waited 57 days to sign the request for CSIS to monitor Michael Chen. 57 days later, you've probably blown your entire opportunity to see if the guy is up to something. What? There are so many people who it's just obvious that they're CCP agents or they are working on behalf of foreign governments or influenced by Pakistan or influenced by India or China or some other country. And again, it just acts like, oh, well, they just went to the wrong luncheon. Oh, they just talked to the wrong people. There is nothing going on there, even as you will have MPs like Iqra Khalid standing in front of like posters that say Kashmir will become Pakistan for a Pakistani government front group. And that's just considered a bad decision. Even though she can speak the language, she understands what that banner said, but she decided to show up anyways. There are so many Muslim Brotherhood front groups, other extremist Khalistani front groups everywhere, probably some Indian government front groups that operate in Canada, and we just pretend it's just kind of no big deal. This is why Canada is so dysfunctional. It's that the government is constantly in charge of investigating itself, and so many media institutions are willing to just buy it. There are so many liberals on social media today, or just leftists in general, saying, see, it was a big nothing burger that the conservatives were playing up. How did it go that the Nisikopp report, which was an all-parties committee to investigate foreign interference issues and other suspicious activity, that they specifically named 11 MPs, and then Hogue, in her report, looks at that, basically says, I don't think there's anything here, and then refuses to name who the 11 are or what the evidence is. It's just pretty egregious. There are other really good articles from the Bureau you guys should check out. I think they do a pretty good job at looking over this. Like, here's this one. CSIS officer alleges interference in warrant targeting Trudeau party power broker. This is about Michael Chen. This is an article by Sam Cooper, and this is where he talks about the massive delay in getting the warrant signed to be able to go and monitor him. And that it's not that CSIS said they were late. That's what Hogue tries to say, that they were late. But what CSIS specifically said about this was that it was an intentional delay. It was intentionally a minister knowing that they have to sign it, knowing time is of the essence, and then they do not do it. That is not just a systemic issue. That is an individual issue, as Sam Cooper's guest writer, Gary Clement, had pointed out. That is somebody knowing what the right thing to do is, knowing that someone's probably up to something, and then just doing nothing about it. In fact, actually, this report confirms some of my reporting from back in March of 2023. I should actually pull this up right now. That Michael Chen and Han Dong look like they were involved in the smearing of Kevin Vuong, the now independent MP. Kevin Vuong ran as a liberal. You can't blame him. He's in Spadina, Fort York. That is the most liberal of liberal downtown Toronto ridings. Running as a conservative makes him a sacrificial lamb candidate. He wants to be in government to do good things. I wouldn't agree to run for the Liberals, but he thought it was a good idea. And even before he was elected, basically the CCP starts targeting him. That was literally from the Hogue Report, that the CCP and liberal insiders, because obviously liberal insiders would be having to help, targeted Kevin with a smear campaign to get Trudeau to drop him as a candidate. Their plan kicked off too late, so even after Justin Trudeau said, oh yes, Kevin is a terrible, mean, horrible man, and he's never going to sit in our caucus, he was still on the ballot as a liberal and won anyways. But this is my article from March 2nd of 2023. I was literally mocked for this article, pointing out the similarities between what happened to Kevin and what happened to this man right here, Gang 10. Gang 10 is actually the first man who was born in mainland China to become an MP in Canada. In fact, that sounds like it would be sketchy. Oddly enough, really great Canadian patriot, because when he was invited to take a tour of Taiwan to stand up with an ally and stand against the CCP, he actually took it, and then Han Dong and Michael Chen pressured him out of taking that trip, and then they dropped a fake sex scandal on him to bully him out of his nomination in Don Valley West or North, I believe, one of the two. And then Han Dong took his seat because Han Dong had previously lost his own seat as an MPP in Spadina in 2018. And then it so happens that when Adam Vaughan is leaving as the Spadina Fort York MP, he then endorses Kevin as a good last-minute replacement, and Han doesn't like that. One, it's his own old stomping grounds, or this is what I'm assuming Han's thinking, that's his old stomping grounds. And two, Kevin Vuong is very anti-CCP. It makes sense because one of his parents is in fact South Vietnamese. And then suddenly, a week before the election, a fake sex scandal gets dropped on him, and the liberals try and drop him. And now this Hogue Report confirms that that was what was going on. They don't name Kevin. It would be useful if they did. But there was only one liberal MP that the CCP came after because they were perceived as being anti-CCP. This is what the report literally says. And then Kevin's the only one targeted. This is not, oh, well, there might be some issues. Oh, there might be some systemic issues. This is full-on foreign interference that the liberals are complying with. They mentioned in the report, the liberals knew about people like Michael Chong in 2021 being targeted by CCP front groups, that they were targeting his riding with misinformation for Chinese diaspora voters, and that hurt Michael Chong in the election. That's not, maybe we should fix that. The report vaguely points to, because it doesn't want to directly say it, even though it should directly say it, the liberals knew about it and did nothing because it was benefiting them. That's not, like, again, the report is basically acting like because we don't have photos of Xi Jinping and Justin Trudeau taking a bubble bath together, that means there was nothing going on. There was clearly something going on. The liberals have all the information at their fingertips, and they decide to do nothing. In fact, if you want to know just how pro-liberal this report is, it also tries to sideswipe Pierre Poilievre because he didn't get his security clearance, even though this security clearance would have given him basically no information because the report's crap, and he would have not been able to talk about the report by getting the security clearance. It's ridiculous. At this point, maybe Poilievre should get the security clearance just to do it. I guess he didn't want to play the games of the liberals going into this. At this point, he should probably do it. But, like, it obviously is just the liberals trying to pretend, trying to then jab Poilievre in this report to get the liberal media talking about that, when the main story here is not that, oh, it's a nothing burger and Poilievre's sketchy because he won't get the security clearance. It's that it's a cover-up, and so it actually confirms Poilievre not wanting to get the security clearance because there was nothing in it. Again, the public deserves to know which 11 MPs are at least so gormlessly stupid that they are very easily brought into foreign schemes. That foreign actors approaching them does not set off alarm bells. I don't want those people in government. Mary New, working with and just being really close and having advisors go-betweens between her office, her ministry, which is in the cabinet, she has a go-between between her and a United Front Workers Department front group, a CCP front group. What? That's not, well, that's kind of interesting. That's like, it doesn't matter if she's ignorant. She shouldn't be in parliament. Voters should know about that so they can not vote for her because she is so stupid that she would let that happen. She would let that relationship take place. It's actually nuts just how much stuff is just out there that everyone kind of knows about and nobody actually cares to talk about it. Like, remember Navdeep Bains, the Liberal MP who suddenly resigned out of nowhere? How was it that that man had massive gambling debts and then overnight all the gambling debts disappeared right before he left office? That's really strange. Not foreign interference. Not him having any direct ties to a foreign movement. No, that's just normal stuff. Anyways, that's it for me today, guys. No doubt in the future I'll be talking more about this. By the way, this foreign interference report does help kind of elucidate some stuff about my lawsuit, the person suing me. So if you want us to contribute to the legal fund, you can always contribute in the description below. I just had to pay another bill. It was a small one, so not too bad. If you want to donate to the Give, Send, Go, really helps me out. I've paid like $35,000 in the past few years defending myself. One of the people connected, the people suing me was one of the people Sam Cooper and Kevin Vuong noted was actually being invited to CCP events in China and being given gifts. It's nuts, the kind of stuff that's going on. But make sure to like this video, subscribe to the channel, do all that great stuff, and I'll catch up with you guys another time. I've been wearing a lot of sweaters today. I'm going to try and break that trend. I feel very daddish right now.